If you need to check whether a car was written off in the UK or has an Irish finance agreement on it, you can start the process by entering the vehicle's registration number in the box underneath this video.
First up tonight, cars. The market for new cars has almost collapsed in the last few years, and more of us are opting to buy and sell on the second-hand market. But that has its own risks. We've caught up with two young motorists, one who unknowingly bought a write-off, and the other who bought a car that was really owned by a bank. Debbie Crothers had always dreamt of owning a Mini. 2 years ago, she finally took the plunge and bought this red convertible for €20,750.
I went on to CarZone and had a look at all sorts of Minis. I seen one that I really liked. It was on Car Dealer, so I went up and had a look at it.
What did you make of it when you saw it first?
I loved it, fell in love with it. It was probably because I had a lot of extras that's why I went for that particular one.
So Debbie traded in her old car and borrowed over $15,000 on a finance agreement with GE money. But then she started having multiple niggling problems and took the car in to be checked out.
I was just getting really a bit worried about so many things going wrong with the car. So a friend brought it up to a garage and they did some checks on it and just put it up on a ramp. And basically they knew from the underneath that the car had been crashed.
It emerged it was a UK car that had been involved in a major crash.
They never told me that it was imported, that it was wrote off. I was heartbroken.
There are 4 categories of write-off. A and B mean a car needs to be scrapped and crushed, while a C or D write-off can be repaired and put back on the road. We brought Debbie's car to be checked by an engineer.
This vehicle sustained moderate to hard impact damage to the right-hand front and along the right-hand side. Starting with the front bumper, the front panel, the bonnet, the lights, the right-hand front wing panel, the right-hand front door, and the right-hand rear quarter panel. The quality of the repairs is of a substandard nature, and it's obvious that the vehicle has sustained hard impact damage, and it would have been consistent with a Category D write-off.
Unlike the UK, Ireland has no public database of insurance write-offs. Importing a car effectively wipes clean its history, making it more difficult for the buyer to reveal its past. Buying a repaired write-off can wipe thousands off a car's value.
The repairs are of a substandard nature, and the vehicle would have suffered depreciation, quite a considerable depreciation, because of the repairs carried out.
The tough thing for Debbie is that she still owes $9,000 to GE money on a car she no longer wants to drive. GE say they'll take the car back and cancel her loan, but that means she'll lose all the money she's spent on payments for the car so far, leaving Debbie with a difficult choice.
At the end of the 5 years, at the end of the contract, I should be able to sell it. And who will buy a car that's wrote off? Because I wouldn't have at the start if I knew it was a wrote off.
Write-offs are just one pitfall for drivers. Another is outstanding car finance. Triona Connolly's silver Astra has gone from being her pride and joy to being the bane of her life.
He just said to me, it's a quick sale. The guy had been in poor health and he was looking for a quick sale on the car.
And how did you pay for it?
It was a cash sale. And
so no receipts?
There's no receipts, no nothing, basically. And we drove away the car that night and there was never an issue with it last Wednesday night.
Almost 2 years later, a man with a tow truck called to Triona's house while her mother was minding their children. He said he'd come to repossess Triona's car because the previous owner hadn't paid off his loan.
Well, my mother was quite distressed when he arrived because she's up from the country. She didn't quite know what was happening, and she just had said, please just don't touch the car. You know, she's still paying for her loan. The car is still hers. It's her pride and joy, and please don't take it. And she kind of, I suppose, maybe threw the scent kind of off him because she was quite distressed, and he kind of left her be for the moment, you know. I drove the car into work the following morning, and my husband phoned me at 9 o'clock to say that the jury had been back to the house, the repossession guy, looking for the car. And he knew where I worked, and he was going to come to my place of work to collect the car, regardless of what the outcome was, and he didn't want to cause me any embarrassment.
Trina's in a no-win position. Despite having paid for the car, the real owner turns out to be the bank.
The car is owned by the bank until the final repayment is made at the end of the period. So we urge people to be very cautious about buying any vehicle that had an outstanding finance agreement on it. Otherwise, you might find yourself answering the door to two men in suits one day who are there to repossess your car on behalf of the bank.
Do you know how much is owing?
I don't, but the repossession guy had actually said there was a debt of 15,000 outstanding on the car.
15,000? It's worth nothing near that.
So
now.
basically, if I was to sell the car today, it'd probably go for maybe 5, 6.
What did the guards say, or have you been to them?
The guards said it's a civil matter.
Civil matter?
Civil matter, yeah. Every day it's just a matter of waking up every morning, and the first thing the children say when they wake up is, "Mum, your car's still there." So it's off to work, and the girls I work with are able to kind of sandwich me in. We block it around on the 4 sides. And basically I'm checking from the window of the office every day just to make sure the car is still there and no one has come into the car park to actually lift the car. And it's quite stressful on the family because it's kind of wondering and waiting and watching, and you can't focus on anything at the moment, only the car. So.
Well, to get some kind of indication as to just how many cars are for sale when there's still money owing on them, we asked MotorCheck to look at 100 cars that were checked with them and were still for sale last Thursday. Shane, what did you find? Out of that 100, how many had finance?
14, Keelan, after checking with the banks themselves, were under finance.
That's 1 in 7?
1 in 7. There was a range of sellers involved. 2 happened to be private sellers, 7 were non-franchise dealers, and 5 were franchise dealers.
OK, well, Alan Nolan, you're here. Thanks for coming in. You're representing the motor industry. I mean, first of all, what do you make of that? People selling written-off cars, people selling cars that they don't own?
It's appalling. And I think for many years we've always underlined to people to be very, very careful when you're buying a used car. You need to really establish who you're buying from as much as you can, and then as much as you can find out about the car. It's why we established Car History Check. It's why Shane established Motor Check. It really is so important for consumers to be able to check that.
But I think what Shane is saying is that even SIMI members have got cars for sale with finance on them.
But they would clear them before they sell them.
How do you know?
Well, first off, dealers have to you have to own title to a vehicle before you can actually sell it.
Do you police your members?
Oh,
I mean, can we be sure that SIMI members are not involved in these practices?
One of the issues, I can't say to you that 100% of people working in 100% of our garages have always done things correctly. We endeavour to make sure that the industry operates to high ethical standards. OK,
thank you both very much. Now, we did check with Bank of Scotland, who lent the money on this car. They said that this is a significant problem, particularly in the current climate, and the consumer should be very aware of outstanding finance on any car they're trying to buy.